Hey, what's going on, guys? Greg Jenkins here from Monkeypod Marketing, and I wanted to break down a super simple campaign that I recently built for my own business that might be a fit for you as well. So let me give you the context, and then we will dig into the actual campaign structure. So when somebody buys one of my courses or my membership or anything that Monkeypod offers, I like to send them a thank you card, a physical piece of mail. But as you might imagine, some people use a billing address that is different than their shipping address, or where they don't really receive physical mail. So occasionally I get letters like this bounced back to me with the return to sender stamp on them, indicating that it couldn't be delivered because the address doesn't accept mail, or because my handwriting is borderline illegible. But for whatever reason, I like to follow up with that individual and say, hey, I'm trying to send you something. Do you have a better mailing address you can put on file? And I usually do this manually because it doesn't happen all that often. But I got 2 letters this week with this return to sender stamp. And as I was sitting down to write them an email, I realized, hey, this is a pretty good opportunity for me to build an automated process that takes care of this for me. So the campaign I'm about to break down is a simple one, but it reaches out to the recipient and it says, hey, I'm trying to send you something. This is the address I have on file. If that's not the best place to send you mail, click here to update it, right? And it lets them update their shipping address where I can send physical mail on their contact record without me having to get involved. And then it follows up with them if they don't do that, and it notifies me once it has successfully collected a new address so that I can try again with my thank you card here. So let's break that campaign down and take a look. Okay, so here we are in the campaign builder. This is actually a frequently asked questions campaign that I use for a bunch of different stuff, right? So if somebody has questions about a specific topic, or if they ask for the login details to my referral partner center, or if they need to update their billing information, or if they're just having trouble logging into my membership area, I have a series of note templates here that I can just, with 1 or 2 clicks, apply to the contact record, and then it's automatically going to send them the info that they requested, whether it's their login credentials or follow-up details about, X, Y, or Z. So I do recommend that every business on the planet build an FAQ campaign like this. If you find yourself answering the same types of questions, and you have to, compose the email from scratch each time, or if you, get a little clever and you go to your sent folder and you copy the content you wrote the last time you sent it, and you move it to a new email and you change a few things and you send it out again, right? You can simplify all of that by building out a template that is comprehensive, that has all of the information you want that person to have, and then you just deploy that template by applying a note to a contact when it's time for that email to go out. So I built a similar process. In this video, we're going to break down this bottom line here, which is the FAQ confirm mailing address. And just as a little pro tip, the reason I title these, or I start all of these note templates with FAQ, is so that when I go to the contact record and I am applying a note, they're organized alphabetically. So all of the FAQ templates will be in the same section and I can easily find the one I'm looking for. So it starts by dropping them into this sequence, and there are 2 emails in here. I just have a 1-minute delay and then an initial email reaching out, and then 2 days later it follows up with them, okay? And then 21 days after that, if they're still in here, I'm just automatically removing them from this sequence so that they don't hang out here queued, right? And then the goal is to get them to fill out a landing page that allows them to update their shipping address. So because initially I collected their billing address, but obviously I haven't been able to send them the letter that I wanted to that address, I'm giving them an opportunity to add a different address on file, and I'm storing that back to the shipping address. So that's what's happening here with this landing page. And then once the landing page is successfully submitted, I just notify myself. I apply a note to the contact record automatically saying, hey, their mailing address has been updated, and I notify myself. Now, there's a few, and then of course, a couple days later, I just remove them from this sequence so that they don't end up in there. If you haven't used that particular widget, remove from sequence, it's actually just tied to this add to sequence, and the way that you configure it is just by checking the remove contact from sequence setting there at the bottom, and then clicking save. But I've started adding that to any of my sequences where I want them to be pulled out once the automation has completed. So this sequence here, it really only serves one function, which is to notify me. And then once that is done, I could just pull that person out. They don't need to stay in that sequence any longer. I find, or my hope is that this will create cleaner campaigns and reduce the opportunity for accidental automation going out to someone. So that's a personal best practice of mine. As I've been going over my campaigns, I've been introducing that element anytime there's like an orphaned sequence that I don't want people to queue up in. But that's neither here nor there. Let's take a look now at the landing page. So before you build these emails, right, before you build out the mailing address and mailing address to requests, I recommend that you build out the landing page. That way you can get the link from the landing page that you're going to want to use in those emails. So let's jump into this landing page. This is the native Infusionsoft landing page builder, which if you have not used it, I don't blame you, first of all, but it has actually come a long ways. It's a lot quicker, a lot cleaner. So my experience with using the landing page builder more recently has been overtly positive, whereas previously I felt like it caused more frustration and more grief than maybe it saved me. So if it's been a while since you tried it, maybe give it another chance. But here's the landing page. So I just have a simple use this form below to update your mailing address. I did notice that with the mailing address blocks, I couldn't easily reorder the fields. So I left this call out here. I'm not sure why the fields are out of order. Sorry about that. And you'll notice that it's address 1, address 2, country, and then city, and then state, and then postcode. So obviously I would love for country to be at the bottom, which is how it traditionally is. But until we get that sorted, I've just got a little call out here telling them it's different. Now, there's one additional field that you need to have in order for this address to be successfully mapped back to the contact who is filling it out. And that is the email address, right? So you'll see email address is listed here, but I do have it hidden. Meaning that it's not displayed as something that they can fill out. So I keep that hidden so that they don't have to do the work of typing in their email, and it tells the system which contact to match that new information it has collected to. And one final note here for the email address is down at the bottom here. We've got a setting for URL param. So I believe when you're coming from an Infusionsoft delivered email and going to an Infusionsoft landing page, it should automatically map the contact's email address through to this hidden field. But because I've had some inconsistencies in the past with that, I like to manually force that email address through just to make sure that the system knows who this person is and knows to map that information back to the corresponding contact. So I set this to just email. Real simple, all lowercase, and then I'll show you what I do with that, okay? So once you've built out your landing page and made it look the way you want it to, you come to this publish page and you can copy the URL for that landing page here. Go ahead and republish or publish if it's the first time you're building that page, and then click done. And then we go back to the campaign level. Okay, so if you were just following up with the contact once to ask for the shipping address, then you could just jump right in here and build out your email using the link that we just copied. But because I have multiple emails in there, anytime I'm using the same link in multiple emails in the same campaign, I like to use the campaign links section. So if you're not familiar with this section, I've got some content that covers it in more detail. But effectively what the campaign merge fields and links area allows you to do is create common variables that you can use throughout your entire campaign that are managed from a centralized location. So that way, if you need to update it, you make the update in one place and it populates those changes everywhere else. So you can see I've created a link here, but you would just add a new link if you wanted to start from scratch. And then what I've done is I added on to the end of that page, I added on a query string that maps the contact's email address through to that email field. So if you're not familiar with query strings, there's plenty of documentation out there for them, but effectively after the URL, you start with a question mark and then the parameter, which is email, which we just set on the landing page, equals, and then with a variable you want to map to that parameter. And in this case, it's going to be contact.email, which is the merge field for the contact's email address. Once you have set that link up, you are ready to jump into this sequence and build out your 2 emails. So if you jump into that first email, I'll show you what I have there. It's really simple. Hey, contact, I was trying to confirm the mailing address I had a file for you, either because I need to send you something or because I tried to send you something and it got bounced back. is this correct? And then I merge in all of the billing address fields. So that's what I tried to send to them. And obviously, if they're getting this email, it didn't work. So if that is correct, just let me know. That means like maybe it was my handwriting or I made some sort of mistake in transcribing it. But if it's not correct, you can use this link to update the mailing address. And then again, if you are just sending one email, this is where you would put the normal URL. But because I am using the same link in multiple emails, I chose the campaign links section or campaign links option, and then I chose the mailing address link, which is the link that we just set up there. And it includes that query string. It includes that additional extension that maps the email address through to the hidden field. So that's email 1. Actually, for email 2, it's nearly identical. So when I'm following up on the same request, especially when it's not like a marketing email, if it's a functional email or a transactional email, sometimes I like to keep it real simple and just say, hey, the other day I tried to send you the message below. I didn't want you to miss it. And then here's the message. And I just copied that same email to keep it real simple, to make it administratively easy for me to build. And then the goal here is that once the people who are in this sequence fill out this landing page, they will have updated the shipping address we have on file, and then the campaign will notify me that I have a new address on file for them, so I can try to send them an updated thank you card, and that's effectively what we've got going on here. So to recap for you, I trigger this by applying a note template to the contact once I know that I need an updated address for them. It will launch them into this sequence where it follows up with them twice. Of course, I could build additional touch points to follow up with them, but once they have filled out the landing page, adding their shipping address, it stops this sequence and it starts this sequence, which effectively just notifies me. And if at any point they stop this process, I know that I've got automation in place that will pull them out of that sequence, just wrapping this campaign up, keeping it nice and tidy. And like I mentioned, this remove from sequence step is optional, but as I work through my different campaigns, I've been combing back over them and adding it as a last step in empty sequences to prevent people from being orphaned at the end of those, right? There's no real drawback to having queued contacts in your campaigns if you know what queued contacts do and you know how to handle them. But it does pose a certain sense of risk if you aren't aware that they're there, because you could inadvertently trigger automation on those people as you're adding steps or modifying those campaigns. So what I'll do is just add a few remove from sequence steps at the end of these and make sure that these are kept neat and tidy. Okay, guys, that is it. A super simple campaign that I built this week to take a manual process and to use automation to get it done more efficiently, to remove the manual effort and the opportunity for me as a human to mess it up. So hopefully this serves you as well. If you watched this video and you had any questions, if you were unclear on the campaign builder or on campaign links or on using note templates or any other aspect of how this works, I can't recommend strongly enough my CB Trilogy course, which is my flagship course. It is the deep dive into the campaign builder part of Infusionsoft. It starts with the basics, goals, and sequences and works all the way through the more advanced settings, features, and scenarios to help you make the most out of what I believe is the most powerful part of this platform. So that's it for now. If you found this video helpful, please feel free to drop a like or a comment or to share it with someone who it can serve. Take care.